Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. So Triple G Murata has just happened and I've got to be honest with you, it was painful to watch, wasn't it? Triple G, an icon, a middleweight great, no question about it, but it's time to throw in the towel as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that was painful to watch with a capital P. Now, yes, he got the job done in the ninth. Yes, he finished the job pretty ruthlessly, emphatically. Beautiful right hand. Often with a fighter, it's the last thing that goes is the power, and it's exactly the same with Triple G. Caught Murata with a beautiful right hand, timed him, put the pressure on. It was like for 30 seconds. I'm going to be careful what I say here, but for 30 seconds it was like the Triple G of old, wasn't it? Relentless pressure, attack, full-on aggression, relentlessness, and just didn't let Murata breathe. However, it was almost like his corner said, listen, Triple G, you are losing this fight. You've probably got realistically 3 minutes to do something about this, because 10, 11 and 12, Murata might just run, avoid, you might be tired. So it's almost like his corner screamed at him, because he came out a completely different fighter and surprise, surprise, got the job done. Now, had it been 5-6 years ago, with Triple G aggressive from the start, confident, sharp, Murata would have been done for within 2 rounds, probably the first round. I said it'd finish in the 6th, it finished in the 9th, but, where was the pressure? It was pedestrian-like, it was slow, the output from Triple G has waned, his speed's waned. It was like one punch every 10 seconds, and Murata was actually backing up Triple G. And for the first time ever, I actually saw Triple G in discomfort, like wobbled. I thought, my God, he could actually get stopped here. Watching round 4, 5 and 6, he looked in trouble. And Murata, obviously tall, rangy, come forward fighter, was backing Triple G up, and he looked like to be in distress. And obviously that's evident post-fight when Triple G's marked up. So yeah, listen, it's a win. He's now the unified champion, and all credit for Triple G for getting that, but I'm not convinced. That's the worst Triple G I've seen probably ever. And I don't think, a win can hide that. I mean, Murata, very fortunate, like I say, he beat a C-level fighter. He's a C-level fighter, but obviously he's a big draw in Japan, and that's why the fight's been made. But he's not a real world champion in my eyes. And, unfortunately for Triple G, he's going to get found out if he fights anyone that's a real world champion, a genuine world. If he fights a Charlo, Andrade decides to move down, which he might do after seeing that performance, fights Canelo, he's going to be in big trouble. Even a Eubank Jr. probably licking his lips now going, sign me up for that, thank you very much. Lee Williams before Eubank, but the dismantling job would have probably fancied Triple G on that performance. So listen, I'm a huge Triple G fan. I think what he's done, to the likes of Matt Macklin, what he did to Lemieux, what he did to so many in his pomp, in his prime, what he did to Canelo in their first fight. He deserves huge respect, and he reigned supreme for 10 years. Brilliant fighter, but unfortunately his come forward style, if you look at the Frasers, the Tysons, it doesn't lend itself to longevity. The reflexes need to be on point, the power needs to be on point, your chin needs to be on point, because ultimately you're taking risks and you need to be sharp to avoid them punches, and if you do get hit you need an iron chin. I think his punch resistance gone, his speed's gone, his power's gone. I mean, yes, you got Murata out there, but Murata was taking a lot of punches from Triple G up to that point. It was more as fatigue towards the end, which did him. So, for me, that's a worrying fight in the fact that I'm looking at Triple G as a Canelo opponent, and I don't want to see that fight anymore. I said it last year, and I say it even strongly now. For me, it would be a case of Holmes versus Ali all over again, where you've got two brilliant fighters, but one very much active, very much in their prime, and one that's a lot older, similar age. I think Triple G is literally 8 years older than Canelo, which was the same with Holmes and Ali, of course. Canelo, a bit like Holmes, has not taken the damage Triple G has. you know, and he's not as battle worn, or you know what I mean. And Triple G's all that now. He's had so many wars with, you know, look at the you know, his last couple of fights with Canelo. You know, his life and death with Kell Brook at times. You know, that was a hard fight. You know, he doesn't do it easy, does he, Triple G? And you know, I think the wear and tear, his aggression, has sadly caught up with him. And don't forget, he's been out the ring 16 months as well, which all adds up. But you know, it was a worrying sight. I mean, the other fight I'm looking at, of course, is the Derevchenko fight, which was a unanimous decision. That could have gone either way. I think, you know, the Jacobs fight, you know, another tough fight for him. You know, you know, and you know the Martin Murray, the Willie Monroe fights, the Daniel Gill. You know, these fighters in you know, 2014, 15, 16. These were in his pomp. But, you know, the last couple of years, it's taken its toll. And like I say, ring rust and age now. And I think probably his last great fight, for me, was the Derevchenko fight. You know, even the Sazameta fight was difficult. And this one's even more difficult. You know, he just took a lot of punishment, and it all accumulates, and he just can't get out the way of the punch anymore. And unfortunately, he can't get the damage he used to do. He used to get fighters out there in the first couple of rounds. Now he's struggling to do that. So I don't want to see Canelo fight. I think it's dangerous for him, his health, and his legacy. But unfortunately, money talks, and DAZN should be ashamed of himself. The commentary saying he's ready for Triple G, ready for Canelo, after that fight. It's all a money-making thing for them, but they need to look past that. I mean, there's plenty of other big fights that Canelo could have. He doesn't need Triple G at this stage. And of course, you're going to get the Canelo fanboys after that third fight, when he's probably knocked Triple G out. Oh, he was so much better, he's a much better fighter, he's proven it now. It's total nonsense, because you're fighting a man half of what he used to be, literally. Physically, Triple G didn't look the same either, did he? I mean, he's always been in good nick, but he didn't look as menacing or as thick or as strong out there. You know, he's looking like he is a 40-year-old man in every sense of the word. And like I say, Murata, he just about got by Murata. For me and many others, and I think he was down on someone scored 2 of the judges' scorecards. He was down on a lot of the pundits' scorecards. He was down on my card as well. He almost needed a knockout, and he pulled it out the bag. And that's what, you know, the heart and experience will do for you. And he's, like I say, the last thing that goes is someone's power. Like Tyson, both up. Very similar. He was losing badly, pulls out a big right hand, same with Triple G. But for me, Triple G's a smart man, but also is a proud man. I'm just hoping pride doesn't become before fall here. He needs, you know, he needs Tom Schaefer. You know, he needs his trusted allies. I think if you're still with Abel Sanchez and not Banks, Abel Sanchez will put him to the side and go, listen, Triple G, it's time to step aside now. I'd like him to have one more fight, defend his titles, be a comfortable mandatory in his hometown, maybe. You know, Afghanistan, or you know, even a country near there. You know, would be nice for him. You know, in Europe, even Germany, I know they love him. Let him ride off to the sunset in a nice, comfortable mandatory. Don't go for the big fights anymore. It's not going to happen. It's time you let yourself go in that regard. But of course, the dollar signs are there for a Canelo fight. The dollar signs are there, you know, for the Charlo brothers. And I don't want to see that happen now, because for me, he's got no chance, especially against Canelo. But listen, I'm happy for Golovkin. He's a unified champion again. You know, he's got two of the major belts. I mean, what more do you want? He's got his money, he's got his legacy. But Murata 5 years ago would have been wiped out, barely a sweat. This time he was beating Golovkin up at times. He backed him up, wobbled him. You know, Canelo's Triple G was marked up, and it was only basically his fantastic cardio, his experience, and that deadly right hand, which he's still got in spots, especially when the fighter like Murata, not used to fighting at that level for so long, was tired. But you know, unfortunately against Canelo, he won't get that chance to throw it. So, you know, it's the last thing that goes, I've said. But for me, Triple G needs to have a hard, long look, because 5 years ago, like I say, that would not have happened. He got beat up tonight and he pulled it out the fire, like, you know, so many greats do. But even the greats have their day, and unfortunately for Triple G, that day is now upon us. So he needs to have a hard look. He needs to, if his team loved him, they'd say the same thing. One more mandatory in his hometown or in Europe, then right off to the sunset. Let it go. It's been a fantastic career, Hall of Fame career. For me, he beat Canelo twice, but definitely, most certainly once in everyone's eyes. You know, brilliant career. I don't think anyone's beat him in his career. He deserves to right off to the sunset. He's, you know, like I say, 10-year reign streak, phenomenal. End it's unified champion. Let it go. Sadly, I don't think he will. Sadly, I think the Canelo third fight will happen, and sadly, there won't be many people around supporting him once that fight's happened. And you know, unfortunately, he's been badly stopped. So you know, that's what I don't want to see. So credit to Murata, brave fighter, gave it his best. Limited fighter, of course, not at that level. You know, never fought anyone even past it. Triple G was still far too good for him in the end. You know, coming down the home stretch, I knew it'd be competitive early on. I didn't realise it'd be that competitive, but ultimately 8 and 9, Triple G took over. And as soon as you back Murata up with pressure, he doesn't know what to do, and he did fold. But listen, it was far more competitive than I'd like to see. He deserves a lot of credit, a lot of heart, kept coming. But for him, he'll go back down to his level, where it'll be sort of like a fringe world level. He'll probably be a gatekeeper now for the up-and-coming world champions. He'll get a lot of respect for that fight, and he'll be a name, but he won't ever be world champion again. Not if the middleweight division is anything like it should be. And as for Triple G, for me, I'd like to see him run after